let's talk about the Dillinger Escape Plan for a minute here. I know
Sure.
you guys had planned to enter the studio last November to record an album. Is there any update to that?
Yeah, man, we're kind of tracking right now. Like, I'm not sure. That doesn't mean that we're gonna put an album out like in a few months or anything like that. But
Hmm.
we just started tracking some drums like this week actually, um, and then we're gonna do like maybe like over the next month, kind of do the bass and the guitars for those songs, and then I think we may go back in a few months and do another session, and which is something we've never done before. We've always just kind of like had the album written and then recorded it and then put it out. And I think this time we might record like a batch of songs and then set them aside and then go in later and record another batch of songs and then see what comes from that. Maybe we end up throwing half of them out. Maybe we put out a double album. Like, I have no idea. We've never done this before, so
Yep.
I just feel like, especially after doing this record, I feel like I want to get more experimental with our process and less like tour record release. It would be nice to record, sit on it, record some more, like just have like a less output type of mentality.
Yep. So
we never give ourselves time to sit with anything. We just fucking record and release and move, And I'm kind of interested to see what would happen if we could record more than we need.
Definitely. Definitely make a bigger pool to choose from.
Right.
So what can you say about the musical direction that the new Dillinger Escape Plan album would take? Any idea on that yet?
I mean, so far it's a lot weirder to me than the rest of than the other stuff we've done. It's a lot less accessible, which I'm sure is like, I don't know if that's going to be a shock to people, because obviously we've gotten more and more melodic over the years, and then especially this Black Queen record is completely melodic. So I'm sure people are like, oh, the next Dillinger record's going to be even more melodic. But as of right now, like it's pretty weird and pretty. I don't even know if I would use the word aggressive. It's really strange. It's really strange, man. Like, the closest thing I can think of would be kind of like if there was a missing record in between Calculating Trinity and Irony is a Dead Scene. Like, it doesn't. It kind of seems to have more to do with Irony is a Dead Scene sonically than, which is the record we do with Mike Patton, than any other record. Just because it's fucking weird. That I honestly don't really know how else to describe it. It's not It's not One of Us is a Killer Part 2.
It's gonna be interesting. All right, so
yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me. I don't even know. Like, when I listen to it, I'm not even sure what like I said, it's hard for me to even describe, because the typical things that I would say, which would be like, oh, it's catchier, or it's heavier, so it's more aggressive. Like, it's kind of none of those things. It's just fucking weirder. That's the only thing I can say.
Well, that's awesome. Anyways, I'm really forward to hear what happens with that. So, you got to touch on Kill or Be Killed, because, I have to bother you for info on that. The world is begging for more. Is there a chance of seeing an extensive tour for that, or possibly even a follow-up album at some point in the future?
I would say follow-up album, definitely. I've got personally like 7 hours worth of parts and riffs and stuff like that. I have a folder of Kill or Be Killed riffs and parts that I added up the other day and took 9 hours long.
Ooh, wow.
Stuff so I have to start sorting through so I can get to the best like 20 minutes. And then we talk like every day, like Ben Kohler and Troy and Max. We text like every other day, trying to find windows of time to either play shows, do it, or record another record. And it's just really tough because everyone is so fucking busy, man. That, like, it's tough. As soon as you get 3 people on the same page, one person isn't, and it really is just going to be a matter of us saying, hey, we have to, instead of looking for an open window, we just have to dedicate a window and say, okay, in November, or okay, in June, July, we are going to do this, and everyone has to not do anything else during that time, because we keep trying to make it fit in with our other schedules, and I think if we keep trying to do that, we're gonna be trying forever. And it's something that we really want to do. We really want to do a follow up, and we really want to do some shows. And we've been trying to since fucking Soundwave last year. It's not that we're not trying. It's just something. All 4 of us have to say this is what we're doing during this time, and then we have to stick to it, you know.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it definitely makes sense because you guys are all very busy musicians. And speaking of which, I know we're coming up on time here. So before we conclude, you've been in Dillinger for about 15 years or so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You've had an amazing career throughout the years, and a lot of with Dillinger, and then a lot of collaborations, different projects. If you were to give a few words of advice to a young musician just starting out, what would that be?
I get asked this a lot, and my answer probably would have changed over time, but I think what I say now is the thing that I really have learned the most is that, when you're young, you're so fixated on really quantifiable things, like how do I get signed? How do I get how do I get in front of more people? How do I get a booking agent? How do I find the right this and get the right that and do the right this? Like, should I go here? Should I go there? Do I need to live in LA? Do I need to live in New York? There's so many quantifiable things you're looking for, and like the most important thing that I think has got me from point A, which is deciding at like 9 years old that I wanted to fucking play guitar and sing and all this shit, to here is just finding love of process. Just really, you have to fucking be in love with what you do, man. Like, I'm not one of those people who hates being in the studio or hates being on tour or hates like writing. Like, I love writing. I love being in the studio. Like, when we're done recording records, I'm sad. Like, I want more to do. I listen to them and try to find more to fucking do because I don't want to leave. Like, when tour's over, I'm not happy to go home. Like, I'm bummed. Like, I love being on tour. Like, I love every aspect of it. And no matter what you do, whether it's, if it's something that's not typical, whether it's you're a writer or journalist or actor or fucking athlete or musician, anything that's kind of like an atypical path, if you can find love of process and just fall in love with it, like, I mean, I love it more than hanging out with fucking my friends, with girlfriends, with family, with anything. If you can truly love something that much, you will want to do it all the fucking time. And if you do that, you will eventually fucking become great at it, and you just have to make your life. You just have to make that. If you're in love with it, you'll naturally push other shit aside, and you'll just become that. I never thought that I was going to do this for a living. I just never stopped doing it. And I just made it. I just figured it out. Like, I didn't drop anchor and pick up things that were going to prohibit me from doing it because I knew that I loved it so much that if I got my bills got too high and I couldn't do it anymore, that's a negative. I shouldn't do that. So instead of buying like the car that's gonna give me a giant payment, you get something that you can afford. And instead of living at the top of your means, you live below your means. And you just if you make the love of process your focus, you'll be all right.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. It's been an honor to chat with you, and all the luck in the world for everything you got going on.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Alrighty. Bye.
Take it easy, man.